Hello everyone, this is Saurabh and today we are reading Han Feizi. This is written by a writer of the same name, it's called Han Feizi, and this propagates the third important philosophical tradition in Chinese that shaped China's history. The earlier two being Confucianism and Taoism. Now, legalism, it literally means house of administrative methods or standard or laws, and it deals with political and administrative thoughts. The most famous legalist writer was Han Feizi, who lived about 200 BC. And in this book that we are about to read, and this is the first part of this book or a preface introduction from my side. So in this book, Han Feizi rejected Confucius' idea about proper behavior. And his central belief was that people acted out of self-interest and only respond to rewards and punishments. So an example had to be made. Another quote from Han Feizi is, people are submissive to power and few of them can be influenced by doctrine of righteousness. So this brings us to an important part in the present politics in China. So as we deal with China, most of us have an assumption that Chinese people are unhappy because they are not democratic. The country is not democratic. But authoritarianism in China is not given by Xi Jinping, neither by Communist Party of China, neither by Mao Zedong. It's a part of their cultural thought for thousands of years. So this book is about 2000 years old, and an authoritarian rule is a cultural tradition in China. So, making an assumption that Chinese people are necessarily unhappy because they are not being governed democratically is completely out of context. Let us look at the key beliefs of Han Fei. So he said human nature is selfish and deceitful. He discouraged intellectualism and literacy, and he advocated harsh and strict rules. And he said that law should replace morality. And finally, ruler possesses the power and not the people. This is a similar thought we have seen in China since the communists started in 1949 with Mao Zedong, Communist Party, and presently with Xi Jinping. But it is not to be mistaken that Chinese people necessarily dislike this way of governance. Rather, they don't understand the Western concept of democracy, and even if they are given democracy, it is more probable that the society will divide and strong man among them would rise and again make it an authoritarian state. So in this way, the Chinese philosophy and Chinese cultural upbringing differs from India, because in India there is a cultural tradition of democracy where even a very popular king, that is almost a legend in India, Lord Ram or King Ram, he would listen to a very low citizen of his country and put his personal interest just to accept to the criticism of even individual citizens that don't matter much in the social hierarchy. So, in this way, democracy is a cultural tradition in India, and India cannot be kept under an authoritative rule for long. Even if somebody try for some time, there would be resistance, and ultimately India would revert back to democracy, because this is a cultural tradition in India to follow democracy. Similarly, in China, it has been a school of thought, it has been a culture to have an authoritarian leader, an authoritarian state that makes rules and people follow these rules. Even if they try democracy, it is more likely that the society is going to break up, and strong men among those would rise, and again it would become an authoritarian state. Let's look at another quote from Han Fei. He says, "If law does not command respect, then all the ruler's action will be endangered. If penalties are not enforced, then evil will never be surmounted." Education for the people is positively harmful. Teach the peasants only to grow food and fight. Reward them when they do these well, and squash them when they don't. Charity only encourages laziness, so no charity or compassion for the weak. Attack your neighbor when you are strong, appease him when you are weak. Assign one man to each office, and do not let men talk to each other. You can't control people with love or rituals. Do it with fear and reward and punishments. Criticism of the government should be harshly punished. Burn all books that don't agree with the state. So we see all these quotes from Han Fei is an indicator of an authoritarian state, and he believes that only an authoritarian state can be a strong state. People are submissive to power, and few of them can be influenced by doctrine of righteousness. So Han Feizi, another, he believed that people are naturally bad and had to be forced to do good. You cannot control people with love or rituals. Do it with fear and reward and punishment. Wise men make laws, stupid men are constrained by them. This is said by Lord Shank, who is another philosopher of the same school of legalism. So he is, though not popular as Han Fei, but he holds the same ideas. We'll read the book of Lord Shang later, but right away we start with the book of Han Fei, which is called Han Feizi. Now, this book has 55 sections. So legalist writers in general have drastically low opinion of human nature, and specifically of Han Fei. So he believed that nature of man is basically evil, and they have to be controlled by strict laws of the land.